Hi, I'm Ricky Alexander.
And I'm Kay Lewis.
And this week on the Back Porch Season 4, I'm so excited to have my friend and amazing piano player, Jon Thomas.
Come and take a trip in my rocket ship.
He leads a band called Firm Roots, who's releasing their first album this spring. He's recorded on Turtle Bay's recent album with Catherine Russell called Cat and the Hounds.
Destination moon.
He's worked with Curtis Lundy, Jason Marsalis, and Walter Blanding, and I'm so excited to talk to him. Jon, super excited to talk to you. You're one of my favorite pianists. That's why you're on my last album.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you.
But
seriously. Thank you for the album, too. Yeah. It's great.
Seriously, something I really love about you is that you are very fresh with your interpretation, but very deeply rooted in not only jazz. You know, I've seen you whip out Carolina Shout and all that stuff, but also I really want to hear about your church hymn inspiration. Philip K. Jones II is somebody that's important to you. Can you talk about that side of your life?
Yeah, so when I started playing music, I was maybe about 5 years old. My brothers played, right? My mom and my dad got us in this music school and we all had to play, right? And so that started off with just like the basics, right? Just the instrument and then a little bit of like, you know, early classical works, like simple things by like Bergmuller or something like that. And then shortly after that, there was a period, maybe I was about 8 years old. And then I got involved in church music. So I was playing for a local church and I could only play maybe about one song that I had written myself, very loose interpretation of the word written. Yeah, so that was kind of my start, was playing this one song over and over until one week, after a few months, the pastor said on the mic, can you play anything else? So then at that point I was like, I should probably learn something else. And so slowly through this experience at this church, I started to kind of learn a canon of music, which was primarily liturgical music, right? And after a few years of doing that, and that was the first time I ever learned. I had to learn by ear. You know, I wasn't really a strong reader, so I would turn on records and I'd cry, trying to figure out like, what is this chord? I was convinced that they made up harmony in the studio. Like the chords weren't real. They were completely fake studio chords because I couldn't get it. And of course, at 8 years old, I have to know everything.
Harmony, it's deep, right?
Yeah. So it was the first album I ever transcribed like that was this guy named Stephen Hurd, A Call to Worship Live in DC. So that was kind of like my start, just like trying to pick out music and begin to understand it, was like listening to liturgical music. And I had a few teachers, but what made Phil interesting was I didn't really know Phil Jones at all. You know, I knew of him. He was a big legend in Cleveland. He had fantastic technique, organ, piano. He plays drums, bass on his first, or a lot of his albums. He plays everything. And so he's this Cleveland legend. And I was maybe 14 years old, somewhere around there. And I started hearing Phil's name. And, you know, by the time I was maybe 17, I was like, okay, I'm just going to try to ask this guy for lessons, you know? And he just completely embraced me. And it was like the first time I really had any formal organ training. I played some organ. And he would just say, come over to my house. And we'd go in the basement. And he had an organ there. I just play. I'd learned something off his record. And I got through about 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, about the 3 seconds of it. And he said, no, that's not it. That was close. And then he would stop me, and I never made it through the whole song in several months. But anyway, I say that to say that music, liturgical music, church music, hymns, and even someone like Phil Jones, having those Phil Jones in my life is the foundation for how I view and hear music. It provides all of the meaning, all the context, all like the study, of course, but then all the context for what this is supposed to feel like and what it's supposed to mean. When people are in church and they're singing hymns, in the Black church, the churches I grew up in, they mean it. This is what's getting them through the week, you know? So that's kind of like, oh man, I kind of understand, like, you know, enslaved people making this music and people who are marginalized, and this is what's getting them through the week.
There once was a time when the colorful thing to do was to call for a date on a bicycle built for two. But cars and trains and even planes all have had their day. Now the time is due to call for you in the modern atomic way. Come and take a trip in my rocket ship. We'll have a lovely afternoon. Kiss the world goodbye and away we fly. Destination moon. Travel fast as light till we're out from sight. The world is like a toy balloon. What a thrill you get riding on a jet. Destination moon. We'll go up, 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 straight to the moon too. High in the starry blue, I'll be out of this world with you. So away we still in a space mobile, a supersonic honeymoon. Leave your cares below, pull the switch, let's go. Destination moon. Oh, baby, we'll go up, 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 oh, straight to the moon, we two. High in the starry blue, oh, you know that I'll be out of this world with you. So away we still in a space mobile, a supersonic honeymoon. Leave your cares below, pull the switch, let's go. Leave your cares below, pull the switch, let's go. Destination moon, oh, destination moon.
You lead the group Firm Roots.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, you guys cover a lot of ground when it comes to music styles. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So Firm Roots, I mean, the whole idea of that for me is I love a lot of different styles of music, all coming from this American continuum of music, right? It started with enslaved people here in America, and everything that's been rooted or that comes from those roots, I'm deeply in love with. To me, it's just they all have different tendencies. There's something called Ali Wilson's heterogeneous sound idea, and it just lists several tendencies that tend to happen in Black American music, right? So out of that, I've ended up playing in a lot of bands where, I put on this hat, I do this thing, I do that thing. And it's fun, but I always wondered, man, what if I really just kind of get some people together, and we're always playing, we have a concept, we have an idea, but what if I just take off the blinders, and what if I just take off the training wheels and I say, have at it? And I take people who are just excited about this entire continuum of music, can play everything from blues, boogie woogie, trad, whatever, And what if I get those people and I say, hey, let's have at it. This is not that bad. The concept is trust yourself.
Cool. What a mix. Yeah. I love that. Who are your favorite people? Who's in your band on your record, and who do you like to play with, and why?
The record I'm coming out with, TJ Reddick is on drums. He's been my drummer for about 7 years. Mm-hmm. And Barry Stephenson is my bass player. It's like my guy, They both have my heart. Every now and then I've used vocalists over the years. No vocalists on this first album.
So we've got into a little bit of hymn music, but in terms of, you said the last several years you've been diving into trad. What was it like working, we're in Turtle Bay headquarters. So I'm going to ask you about the Catherine Russell, Colin Hancock project that you played on. How was that experience? What did you learn? What did you bring to it?
The most important thing I learned is Colin Hancock is an absolute genius.
He's cool, right?
I've never met anyone like that in my life. So that's already insane. I mean, an encyclopedia of knowledge, an incredible trumpet player and cornet player, drummer, and reed player, and just the kindest human being, and it does about 10 billion other things to an unbelievable level. So just being around Colin and absorbing that knowledge was like insane. And then having Catherine Russell, who holds that entire tradition. She's one of those people when they sing, and I get the same feeling when Bertha Hope, a fantastic pianist, plays. I get to hear her live. And they do this thing, and it just comes out, and you're like, oh, wow, that is the real deal. Mm-hmm. We're all learning and absorbing this thing, but you've lived in this moment, and you have this in your body. And that's kind of one of the things that it's so important for me. I was like, oh, I'll never be that. I could play the exact lines that Catherine or Bertha play, but I would never be that, so let me be me. Mm-hmm. So that's a big concept for me as a player and for roots. Yeah.
Well, the thing that you have in common with Kat and Bertha is that you grew up with that oral tradition in the community, which is something that they can't teach you in school,
Yeah.
And it's great to hear.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to ask, how was that as a cultural moment for you?
Being in the room with all of those, not only incredible musicians, but there's not a lot of, at least in New York, there's not this scene of this abundance of Black people playing early music like that. It feels so incredible just to be in that room and be like, oh man, this is something that, everyone's diving into the study, and this is an incredible energy and excitement around that, and different ages and different, it's multi-generational in a way. You have Catherine, you have Ahmad, who's younger than me, and so you've got all these people coming together, and you're like,
Kay's dad.
Yeah, exactly. Your dad, who's incredible, sitting in the rhythm section with him. I was like, oh man, it really is one of those moments where the energy is just undescribable, and I think the record, it comes through.
I felt it. Yeah,
we got together and it was just swinging.